Hello, I'm Kiral, a transmedia artist, and this is the fourth and final part in a 4-part video series about the behind the scenes of my sculpture called Finesse. And the particularity of this sculpture is that it smells. That's right, you heard me right. It's a sculpture that is supposed to smell like cake and linden. If you want to understand why and know more about the concept and the context of this sculpture, I invite you to watch part 1. In part 2, you can watch me go from the technical sketch to the prototype to building the structure of the sculpture. While in part 3, I tackled the main challenge of the sculpture, which was making the scent of the linden infusion and of the madeleine, which is this type of short French cake that looks like it has been baked in a shellfish. Long story short, the idea is to infuse some beads with the scents and then put the beads inside the sculpture before covering the whole thing with textile. So now in part 4, you will see me printing the textile, cut pattern and sew the other layer of the sculpture before painting it. So for the textile prints, I printed some images of memories I made for another project, and I go in details about that in part 1 of the video series. Then I proceed to transfer these images on textile. Alright, so I've been cleaning the fabric for the last 3 hours maybe, and now that it's drying up, I still see some paper, so I have to clean it again. But the good side is that it looks very rough, and then some part of the image have been like torn out of the fabric, and that actually fits super well like what I'm trying to express with the piece, which is about like degrading memory. So that's like a very happy lucky find. So now that I'm done with preparing the fabric, it's time to cut it and sew it onto the sculpture. Done with this one. Okay, so now that I'm done with the textile, stuffing the sculpture and painting it, it's time for a final review. So, am I satisfied with my project? To be honest, not really. I'm super frustrated with the scent because what I had not foreseen is that the fact that I varnished the textile, it covered the fabric into a distinct varnish smell that is not going away. I thought it would go away, but it's just staying on fabric way longer than it stays on papers for some reason. And also I feel like it clogged some of the fibers, so the scent cannot go through that easily. And I think that combined with the thickness of the papier-mâché and the faintness of the natural tinctures basically makes the scent of madeleine and tea impossible to detect with a human nose. So of course I'm really frustrated about that. You know, this is a YouTube video, so I could definitely pretend it was a wild success and it's exactly how I wanted it to be, but that's not the truth. This is actually a failure in some sort of way, but it's okay. It's important for me to commit to create projects and finish them. And it has the merit to exist, and I'm happy to have materialized it. But you know, the scents are in there. In future generations, they can make a GCMS and test, and they will see that there are some actual olfactory molecules in the vermiculite inside the sculpture. And these are made out of real madeleines and real linden infusions. But yeah, what matters now is that it's finished, and I'll take now some time to reflect on deciding if I like it or not, or maybe I'll just let it float in my project limbo drawer in my brain. Anyways, what do you think? Okay, bye!